Hi, and welcome to Habits for Humans, the podcast that explores what makes people tick and how to program this brain of ours to do what we want it to do. I'm your host, Kim Flynn, and today we're going to talk to Robert Fisher and Christine Scheffer and discuss and explore and talk about the 12 keys to living better in later years. So I have to tell you, we already filmed this. We filmed this once. We had technical issues. We're refilming, but there was one piece that they talked about in our last interview. And it's been like when you hear something or you read something and it just haunts you and that piece is still like wrestling in my brain. That's the piece that I want to explore specifically. And that is, we're of course going to talk about all 12, but that piece is as you age, as you get older, and things in your body really do break down or degenerate, or you really do have issues, how do you continue doing what you love when your body is breaking down around you? So I want to talk about that. My husband has been recently diagnosed with this hand disease. I can't remember the name of it, but it's in his hands and his feet, and it makes his hands clench up. And it gives him a lot of pain, and he can no longer go to the gym and lift weights because of that pressure there. And so I've been thinking about this interview with that, and I want to talk about that with you guys in depth. So we do have giveaways for our listeners to the end. If you like free stuff, and who doesn't, stay tuned until the end. And a word from our sponsor, Habits for Humans, is brought to you by RetreatWorks. We train life coaches, business coaches, and wellness business owners how to build a retreat in 5 days and double your sales while having more client impact. So I'm super excited to introduce Robert Fisher and Christine Scheffer. Robert and Christine are a duo that use their life experiences and perspective on aging to create their 360 website, livingbetterinlateryears.com. Both with individual stories of feats and trials, the married couple currently work with foreign governments, and they just got back from Cairo. They work with foreign governments on nuclear missions as full-time jobs and inspire healthy habits, all the while through their passion project. Robert is a military veteran, sharing many stories of his deployments and close encounters with death on a regular basis during combat. Wow. That would affect your outlook on life. And on top of this, Robert is a cancer survivor. At only 35 years old, Robert had to come to terms with his reality that he may not be around much longer. Through the support of his family and the life-saving medical treatments, Robert pulled through and takes no day for granted. He uses the 3 pillars of his life story as the catalyst that inspires the 12 keys of living better in later years. And Robert, that was all about you. For some reason, we missed the part about Christine. Let's turn over to Christine right now. Christine, tell us about you for a bit.
She's a special one.
No. So I'm an engineer turned human resources professional who's been in the energy business for almost all of my career, and super passionate, always been super passionate about food, exercise, staying healthy. I do just tons of reading about the latest thinking, especially on sleep, food, and exercise. And longevity now is obviously super trendy. So I'm listening to all the hardcore geeks talk about their latest theories on longevity.
I love it. All right, so we always start with your number one habit to manage your own mental wellness. Let's hear from Robert first. What is a practice that you do to manage the stress of daily life every single day?
Well, in our 12 keys, our second key is sleep well. And it's only the second key because the first one is planning for the year. The reason I mentioned the sleep well being number 2, it is actually our number one priority. We think that is your number one priority in life. Everything else, if you don't get proper sleep, it undermines your ability to perform in every aspect of your life. It induces poor sleep, induces poor eating, undermines your exercise, it compromises your ability to learn, impacts your productivity. It also undermines your emotional resiliency. So our number one priority is sleep.
And it's critical for your immune system and memory generation and learning.
And give you some examples how important we think this is and how focused we are. Every morning we get up and we look at our sleep watch data that goes right to our phones, and we compare our numbers to make sure we got what we intended. And of course, it's not always perfect. And of course, especially when we have jet lag coming back and forth from international travels, but we manage it. We focus on it and manage it. and do a whole series of things. Christine gives some examples of those things we do to make sleep a number one priority.
Yeah, because in our last interview, you asked each of us this question separately, and I answered first, and mine was sleep. And Robert, I was actually a little surprised that his was sleep. So we hadn't discussed that in advance. But so what I would emphasize is sleep hygiene, what they call it. And that is keep your bedroom temperature cold, minimize the distractions and blue light in the bedroom, go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time every day, including weekends, and wear socks to bed, comfortable socks.
I hate wearing socks to bed. Tell me about that. I hate it. It feels terrible.
So many people say, I'm just not going to do that. And then we send them these like fuzzy, cozy socks.
I love that you just have them on hand there. Is that just a thing that you carry around with you, or is that?
I pulled it off my foot.
Okay.
So these wonderful cozy socks that are like slipper socks, but they're loose. And why do you do it? It's all about you keep your room cold because you need your core temperature to get cold. And just by sticking a pair of socks on, your feet vasodilate a little bit, which pulls blood away from your core. So it's a super easy way of pulling down your core temperature. Taking a bath or shower before bed is also really good because it heats you up, and then that forces your body to cool itself off.
Wow. Okay, I'm so interested. Let's dive into this a little bit more. So sleep hygiene. So this is last night. I'm going through a hard thing right now in my life. I stay up TikTok till 2 a.m. I just couldn't force myself to get off and just want to go to sleep. And then I'm like, oh, I'll sleep in tomorrow. And I wake up at 8. So I got 6 hours. It didn't feel great. How do you do you just have to force yourself to unplug? What if you just don't feel like going to sleep? Seriously now, real questions.
No, seriously. So that one's hard, and we're going to have some interruptions this week. We got people arriving at midnight tonight. We were up at 4:40 this morning. We have people arriving at midnight tonight. So we're going to have to make an exception tonight and sleep in past our normal time and then try to get it back even. We just set a timer. So we most of the time have something we have to get up for. You can manufacture something that you have to get up for. And we try to be in bed 9 hours before we need or want to get up, and make that really as hard a stop as possible. If you don't feel like it, I'd say instead of looking at TikTok, read a book. Try laboring through reading a book when you're tired.
Yeah.
You can't do it forever. Read a book, listen to an audio book, something that's not super interesting, but interesting enough, but not super interesting. That makes you focus on something other than what's going through your head. Take melatonin if you need to, like 1 milligram melatonin is incredibly effective. We've experimented with many things for jet lag and uneven sleep. 1 milligram melatonin is hard to find. Most of the doses are much higher, but we're comfortable with it because it's not, for us at least, it's not habit forming, and studies are not demonstrating that it's generally habit forming.
But two things I'll go back to. You started off by saying make sleep your number one priority. Obviously, there's things in an active person's life, which we all are, that disrupt that. But the point is, stay on point. And if you have things that interrupt it, you get back on track, and you keep a mental note of, okay, I've got to go to bed early tonight, or I've got to do this, I've got to do that. The other piece I'll talk about is, in each of our keys, we list all these best practices, all those best there. And I think in the sleep well, key number 2, I think there's 29 best practices. Each one of those will not work for every given person. So we like to talk about a personal algorithm, those things that work for you. So we provide a whole slew of things you should consider to build a bit of an environment around that. Start with your partner, start to think about, okay, when are we targeting bedtime? When are we targeting getting up? How are we maintaining the room temperature? Okay, when do we put our computers away? How are we holding each other accountable to doing that? And creating a bit of an environment that is conducive to behavior change, because we all know behavior change is hard, especially when you have habits born of many decades. If you can surround yourself with these things that help goose you to what we call baby steps, changing behaviors in baby steps. We think you get there.
I like it. Yeah, go ahead.
The other thing, make your bed wonderfully comfortable. However much you have to spend on it, you're in that thing for a third of your life. So get excellent pillows, get a super luxurious mattress topper, sheets that make you feel like you're back in the womb. We're trying a weighted blanket right now, it's showing some promise in studies for people who need to feel comforted when they're in bed. So do whatever you need to do to make that space fantastic and something to look forward to.
Oh, I love it. I just ordered a couple days ago. It should come today from Amazon. This really smushy bed, whatever you call it, mattress cover that you can sink into, and I can't wait for it. I'm like, oh, can't wait.
Yeah, and like an expensive duvet is so it's fluffy and cozy and keeps you warm enough but cool enough. Just magical. And some pillows like lavender pillow sprays.
All the sleep experts that we research and look through, they say the bed's for two things. One of those is for sleep. The other is not your computer or your phone or any blue light source.
Or TikTok. Yeah.
Or TikTok.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds great. I'm just taking a bunch of notes and just imagining, oh man, I could upgrade my duvet too and just have this really like sink into delightful experience. I could buy I hate the smell of lavender. It reminds me of when I was pregnant, but I could find some other smell. That just sounds heavenly. Okay, and then last thing about sleep, because this is the most important. So I'm totally fine diving deep into just a couple of these instead of trying to hit all 12. But let's dive deep into the sleep data. So I have this on my wrist all the time as well. What do you guys look for? What do you track? What are you looking for? What are the goals there with sleep data?
Number one, what we care about most is restful sleep. So that's going to be the combination of deep wave sleep and REM. Overall is the amount of time that you were sleeping. Restful sleep we consider most important. That's the data point we share every morning. Heart rate variability, super interesting. And heart rate is the other one. And what we really like to do is think about what we did the evening before and see how that impacts all of these things. What time did we eat? What did we eat? What time did we go to bed? And what else was going on?
So what kind of numbers are you looking at? And what have you noticed about the activity the night before or the meals the night before? How does that affect heart rate or your heart rate variability?
For sure, carbs and alcohol close to bedtime drive the heart rate up.
Really?
And yes. So if we eat earlier, if we eat fewer carbs and moderate alcohol consumption, our heart rates are lower. And also,
our key measure is the 8 hours of total sleep, 5.5 of restful. But that the heart rate, Christine mentioned the drinking red wine. On the occasion, for personal experience, any occasion where I've had some red wine later in the day, my heart rate throughout the evening will be an average of 10 beats per minute higher.
Really? How about tequila? Is it just red wine or is it any alcohol?
We haven't done a complete study using
Okay, that's so fascinating. Okay, and then the variability, what are you looking for in the variability?
It's the higher the better. So my numbers tend to be around 20. Robert's tend to be more in the 40s. The higher the better on that one. And then on restful, our personal goals are 8 hours of total sleep and 5.5 hours of restful. And I will tell you, if we get less than 5, we feel it. If we get anything more than 5.5, we wake up feeling pretty great usually.
Nice.
Unless we're still in some kind of jet lag funk.
Yeah.
Anything like occasionally I've gotten 7 hours of restful sleep and you just wake up feeling like a newborn. It's unbelievable.
We've got in the womb with our bed. We've got waking up like newborns. Lots of young, very youthful, not just like in your 20s. We're going all the way back to
that's right.
Kim,
Baby.
the other thing I'll mention is we say living better in the later years. And every week we sign off, we said equates to behaving better in the earlier years. So our audience is older folks like the two of us starting to evolve and manage our lives better. But it's amazing how our message resonates with younger people. Because they have a longer runway, so they get a higher return on investment any behavior or habit they form that is healthier. And just this last weekend, we had a brother and a friend over, and it was amazing to me how, especially the young person, was incorporating this feedback on sleep and how focused the person is on this, and even at a relatively young age, really focused on getting that right and changing his behaviors. In the earlier years, again, with that long runway.
I like it. Okay, so there's sleep. Let's dive into whatever pillar mostly closely matches what my husband is struggling with, which is my body is degenerating. It's part of life. How do I modify my life around that without just stopping activity entirely and getting depressed about it?
Yeah.
Yes. So maybe I'll jump in here with our key number 4 is all about staying fit and growing stronger. And as you mentioned, your husband, one of those things that's become an aha moment as you get older, 60, 70, 80, 90, building muscle was a presumption that not important. It's going to go away. You can't use it, but it's becoming increasingly important. And the notion of building muscle. So for, I'll say senior citizens, actually doing weightlifting, dumbbells, or body exercises, pull-ups, push-ups, things that grow muscle, squats, those type of exercises, increasingly important for a variety of reasons. Strength, and of course, not the least of which means balance. So that is a real focus area. Now, as you go after that, so it's good to have a mindset that says, as you get older, you need to be more active, not less. Because in your 20s, we all start very actively. We're all running around crazy. You go into a lull period in the 30 to 40s, early 50s. But then as you get older, some people just say that all starts to go to zero. You actually need to think about it the opposite. You need to play a lot more, be very active, and to do things like building muscle. Now, things arise that can chip away at that capability. In a personal example, I've historically been a fiend about push-ups. And I got to the point where one of my wrists, I strained it just by virtue of that angle, the 9 degrees angle you do using push-ups. And I've had to go through but it's prompted. Initially, I was a bit sad and depressed, if you will, for a little bit about this. I can't not do push-ups. How do I go about this? Obviously, I went to medical screening. I've got some little weight exercises, little dumbbells that I think are ridiculously small, but I do enough of them per the doctor's orders to get my wrist back. But to me, what was important was finding an alternative where I could still build those muscles and not let them decay. And as an example, I've learned how to do, I get myself a rubber mat and I put my hands in a fist and I do my push-ups on fists, which allow the wrist and the fist to be straight and takes away the pain. Besides building up the wrist muscle and trying to recover that, finding alternative means to build muscles and do other things that life can sometimes prohibit you from doing. I think that alternative mindset, you can't give up. As soon as you throw in the towel, the game starts to get over very quickly.
Yeah, and things take so long to heal as you get older as well. And so if you're like, I'll just wait for this to heal, you're 6-9 months down the road, then you're out of the habit that you have to build it up from ground zero.
Yeah. I had a similar example. I was trying to develop enough strength to be able to do a pull-up.
Wow, those are hard. Yeah,
they're super hard. And so I did something to my tricep tendon and it just became not worth it. I was like, I really wanted to learn how to do a pull-up. I thought that Linda Hamilton in the Terminator was awesome. But when my tricep gave out, and then now I can do fewer things. So I gave up the dream on pull-ups and just figured out that'll just not be in my cards, but I figured out other weightlifting exercises I could do to build up the area without being able to show off my accomplishment of doing a pull-up.
Doing a pull-up. I like that. So find an alternative. So do you guys think as we age, we'll all and I love the advice, first of all, as you get older, you need more activity rather than less. Do you think we'll all just end up as swimmers? Is that the end goal for all of us? Because All of our joints will be falling apart.
I think swimming's wonderful. I do think it needs to be an exercise though, because I've seen swimming that is, people can equate swimming with
Hanging out in the pool. Yeah.
it means not just getting out in the pool waiting, but it's real exercise.
Yeah.
And obviously it helps. What I love about swimming is, yes, it's cardio. There is a peace of mind that goes with it. So it's because it's incredibly quiet. But it's also something that can evolve over time. And I'll give you an example of, I had a friend of mine who recommended getting these little swim gloves. And initially I was like, I'm trying to get cardio. I'm trying to be relaxed and whatnot. And then I tried these things one time because he prompted me the third time. And I said, okay, I'm going to give it a run. And I was amazed at what I found. It was great for your muscles because you have this obviously increased resistance. And so it took that swimming exercise to a new level. Not only was it cardio, not only was it peaceful, but I could feel a better shoulder workout, better upper body workout. And then I took the next steps and got the little miniature swim fins. So now as you're doing it, you're getting back, stomach, leg exercises. So it was just taking that same 30 minutes of pool exercise, doing laps back and forth, and adding a strength mechanism to it. It's just trying to always alter something that makes it a little better, a little more holistic.
I love this. The whole idea behind all these stories just makes me think, okay, it just expands your mind a little bit into, I like the word alternative. Instead of I can't, or I'll have to wait, it's how can I? And it makes us move into a more place of curiosity instead of depression of I can't. I like that. Anything else? Christine, did you have anything to say on that?
Yeah, I really advocate having a set of adjustable dumbbells at home. And I have a long history of doing yoga. And I believe there are many wonderful things about yoga. And so I would always encourage people to try different versions of yoga. But for me, I have an adjustable set of dumbbells and I alternate strength routines on 3 days. One day I do 9 or 11 arm exercises. One day I do 9 leg exercises. And then one day I do 15 core exercises. What I like about it is you can do it. It doesn't take a ton of time. You're not cluttering up the house with a lot of equipment. I don't have to go to a gym or a pool. So I love the approachability and flexibility of it. And it's super impactful. I started with 9 arm exercises. I'm now up to 11 because I threw in push-ups, two forms of push-ups. But I feel like that small set of strength training really gets all my key areas, and I can both feel and see a difference.
That's nice. That's really good encouragement for me. I go back and forth between being a gym girl and a yoga girl. Right now I'm a yoga girl.
Yeah.
And I miss the gym, but I don't like the bulk because I do bulk up pretty good and I get some muscles. And then I'm like, wow, I look like a man. Let's go back to yoga. So I'm like back and forth. So recently I've been thinking, am I ready to go to the gym again? Maybe I can just do both and do the gym really light and do the 3 times a week with arms, legs, and abs. Once a week on arms and legs, that's good enough?
I shoot for twice, but look, the way I view it is once will absolutely, you'll feel it the next day, guaranteed. And you give your body enough time to rest. So when we're traveling, I do once. When we're home, it's more like twice, depending on schedule. But
and do you break up arms and legs, or just do you do arms day and legs day?
Arms one day, legs one day, core the third day. Okay. That's my rotation.
Nice. Okay.
I want to comment on something you said.
Yeah, go ahead.
You talked about going from a yoga girl to gym girl, back and forth. I wouldn't write that off as being fickle. I think that's good. Your ability to evolve and tweak and adjust over time, especially as things change with time, are very important. I know some people that do the same thing over and over and over and over again. You create some vulnerabilities when you do that.
We believe in throwing different things at your body, throwing different things to
like tomatoes. Sorry, dumb jokes. Keep going.
No, it's good. No, but stimulating your body in different ways. So I think alternating between activities like that is super.
Mhm. And for those of you who are listening to this and not watching it, Robert and Christine are in incredible shape. Like they're fully dressed, obviously. You can only see them from the neck up. You can tell, even in your jacket, Robert, that you're super built. Christine, you look fabulous. Like these are healthy people and they're looking good. So just a little clarity there. Okay. So step 2 of your 13 steps or 12 steps is sleep. Step 4 is staying fit and growing stronger. Which one do you guys want to go to next?
I'm a big fan of number 3, which is enjoy healthy eating. It tends to be a topic people love.
Let's dive in.
So this is another one where it's so easy to be confused by, was fat good, is fat bad, or carbs good or carbs bad? Do you want to eat fruit? Is all sugar bad? And so we do a ton of reading and a ton of listening to other people on these subjects. And so I would say one of the things that made a difference for me is try to diversify the number of plant products that you eat. So I listened to a podcast where a nutritionist just really dumbed down all the nutrition information. And there's no one in the world who says eating vegetables is bad. That's like a universally agreed thing. And so we really try now to diversify the number of plant products that we eat. This lady suggested a goal of 30 in a week, which can sound untenable, but you count olive oil, each herb counts, pepper counts, each plant and each part of each plant. So if you eat a broccoli flower and a broccoli stem, that's 2 because it's a different part of a plant. That may seem like cheating, but what are you going for? You're going for 2 things: diversity and nutrients, and different parts of plants have different nutrients. And you're also trying to minimize concentration of toxins, because all plants contain toxins that are intended to ward off pests. And again, the different parts of plants contain different toxins. For us, that was real easy. I used to just have broccoli every day, and I figured you can't get better than broccoli, so I loaded up on it. But now we try to have it be more diverse throughout the day and throughout the week.
So how do you do your shopping then? Do you do meal planning? What do you do? What does that look like for you guys?
So I get a farm box that's delivered every Friday. And so I've got to plan my meals a week in advance so I know what to get in the farm box, and then what to supplement with at the grocery store. We're lucky to live in California, where there's all kinds of fresh food available, locally grown stuff. The other thing is try to buy, when you can, when the price is okay, buy organic and as locally produced as possible. Things that are imported from a long way will probably be on the shelf for a long time, losing nutrients. But so yeah, we do our meal planning in advance. And I think one other thing to emphasize here is we say enjoy healthy eating. We're not on diets. We love food. It is behind sleep. It's the number one thing I get excited about. We really make food yummy, but we just try to use real foods, whole ingredients, make stuff by scratch. We don't buy a lot, unless everything on the label is perfect. We don't buy sauces or condiments. If there's one ingredient in it I don't like, I won't buy it, and I'll learn how to make it.
That's pretty cool. So you're doing meal planning then, and then do you intentionally say, okay, 30 different kinds of vegetables are going to be every week? Is that kind of how it plays out?
No, I don't count them in advance. I just try to make sure I have a good mix. And then in certain meals, like if I make a vegetable soup, I want to know how many are in there. So when I'm trying to load a meal up with vegetables, I like to just tally them up to see how well I'm doing. But really, if all you do is eat different stuff every day and try to be adventurous, especially with vegetables, you don't have to make it a mathematical or rigorous exercise.
But yeah, we don't count them every week, obviously. That'd be a bit over the top. However, when the concept did come in, she would, for the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, she was counting diligently every week just to get to that magic 30 point or more at times. And that is not a sustainable practice, if you will. I'm probably, again, over the top. But it did expand our diet. It changed our shopping habits. And so it modified behavior. So doing that for a while is helpful. Same thing with calorie counting, right?
Mhm.
It's not something I don't think you can do every day with the calculator, but doing it for a period of time, which is one of the keys we recommend, helps you get a better grip on what foods you're eating, which ones you get a lot of nutrition from at low calorie, which ones are high calorie. And then on the flip side, from the stay fit and grow stronger, it helps you credibly count how many calories you're really burning off or not burning off when you're exercising.
Mhm.
Because there's a natural tendency to underestimate the calories in food and overestimate the calories you're burning off when you're exercising.
What's so interesting is I live half, maybe third to half in Costa Rica and third to half here, is how different the entire lifestyle is. When I come back from a month or two there and I'm back here, I'm like, oh my gosh, no wonder Americans are so big. The food here, first of all, is delicious. I don't care who you are. Fast food is delicious. You guys are like,
Oh,
no, it's
yeah.
not. I'm like, oh, it actually is. And it's
Yeah.
every meal that you're served is huge and rich and just tastes so dang good. And then in Costa Rica, you have to cook some food. You have to actually make everything that goes into your body, and you're not just sitting in a car, you're walking around constantly all day long. And so I came back here and I have a friend who's really struggling to lose weight, and I'm like, sweetie, I don't even know how we lose weight in this country. This is insane. We just sit on our butts all day and there's food everywhere. So it really is a lifestyle thing.
Yeah,
Anyway,
for sure.
that's my little tirade. My tirade on how difficult it is to eat well in the US compared to other cultures. All right, we've got time for one more. What is your last pillar that you guys want to do?
So let's, again, our keys range from 1 to 12.
Uh-huh.
And those keys, we publish those every year on the same date, the first of each month. We start with plan your year right at the beginning. So January 1st, we move through keys 2, 3, and 4 in the 1st of February, March, and April every year. And then we move into, on 5, we learn more. 6, improve productivity. 7, grow emotional resilience. 8, engage positively with others. 9, prevent disease and illness. 10 is avoid addiction. 11, create peace of mind through contingency planning. And 12, assess your year. And we cycle through those 12 every year, again, published on the first of the month, so that we take people through this continuing improvement model. For May, just to go to the next key, we just finished, we're finishing up the learn more. Once you have a foundation of sleeping, eating well, and staying fit and growing stronger, it creates a foundation for improved productivity, improved mental capabilities, and improved emotional resilience. So that number 5 is learn more. And one of the ones I think we appreciate is we just wrote an article about Duolingo is our application of choice to learn a second language, because we deal with people all across the world on our daily work lives. 80 to 90% of them all can operate in a second language, that being English. And many have more than that. And you can just tell their brains and their communication skills are different than someone's like ourselves who have been single language for most of their lives. I used to consider being an English speaker an advantage. Now I consider it a disadvantage.
Wow.
And one of the things we've been doing now is using Duolingo to improve our Spanish and to actually make that a second language. And it has been incredibly hard, but I can tell my brain is changing. In fact, I entitled the article "Fracking Your Brain," because you're trying to create new pathways in your brain. And that Duolingo is a very good application. It goes at you several different ways and leads you along and taunts you along the way. So very helpful.
I'm practicing my Spanish too, obviously, in Costa Rica. But when I'm here in the US, I like to watch like Spanish telenovelas. And I sit there with my book, writing down all the words that I don't know. And I put it on Spanish. Obviously, they're speaking Spanish. And then I put Spanish subtitles too. And I expand my vocabulary. I've learned quite the spicy vocabulary lately. I'm like, wow. I can now say that in Spanish. So that's also been a fun way. But I really enjoy learning languages as well. Really fun.
And
Awesome. Yeah, go
and
ahead.
and traveling to put that language to use. We think travel is perhaps an underappreciated way to learn more in terms of language, culture, food, like you said, art, history, everything.
I agree. Ah, don't you love travel? Oh,
Yeah.
it's amazing. Any last words of advice from you guys before you tell us all about your program and what you can give away today?
Yeah, I'll start in and I'll pass it to Christine for some final words. But
Okay.
we built these keys. And again, we don't consider ourselves experts in these areas. We consider ourselves life practitioners. And we've just been comprehensively collecting these things, organizing these keys and all the content within, and then systematically providing them for people to go on this continuous journey of self-improvement over time. And as you, of course, you get older, it's compensation for the natural life forces that kind of, drag you down, if you will. So it's always building yourself up to offset those degrading forces. We also like it, and just recently, it's really dawned on me that at times life is very tough and can throw you some curveballs, and you have to go through some very difficult times. And I've seen this with people trying to survive some of those tough times. These keys are also are a wonderful tool to help in that recovery. I mean, you have to deal with what you have to deal with, but to get yourself back on your feet, sleep well, eat better, stay fit and grow stronger, start to learn more, improve your productivity, grow emotional resilience, then engage positive with others, and then build some contingency. If you follow this, you can help. It helps in that recovery process too. I just think it's a wonderful way to develop your own personal algorithm, your collection of stuff, best practices that will guide you to a higher place.
Very well said. I love it. And Christine, will you talk to us about, can you start middle of the year? Do you have to wait till January? Yeah. I love the structure of that. How is it delivered? Is it like a email program? Is it written? How do you go through the program? Are you guys frozen here? You're frozen on my end. Let me wait just a minute and we can edit this out. This is 12:15. Tell me when you guys can hear me again or see me. Can you hear me and see me? Try, if you can hear me, try exiting and coming back, and we can edit this no problem. So if you can hear me, let me try to text you as well. Oh, you just did. Okay. Hopefully we're back. I think you're muted, but I can see you moving. So it looks like, okay, we're good. Yay. All right. Yeah. That was weird. Let's just jump straight back in. So we'll just edit out to that point.
Okay.
So here we go. Christine, tell us about the program. Do you have to start in January? Can you start mid-year? Is it delivered via email? Is it a book? Tell us about how we can get started with your program.
Okay. We suggest going to our website, which is livingbetterinthelateryears.com. So livingbetterinthelateryears.com. There you can sign up for our email list and you will get the keys by email every month. In addition, you'll get articles every week that focus on the key for that month. And the website itself has quite a bit of content you can surf around on. and also by signing up for the email. So all our stuff's free. In addition to the content all being free, we do a monthly drawing for our product, which is called the Survivor Guide. And we don't spend a lot of time peddling this product, but we consider it really important. It is something that, given that you've done all of the things that we suggest, still you're going to come to an end sometime. And it is basically a planning system so that the people you leave behind don't have to struggle to go through your affairs. And that's the one product right now that we actually sell. We're working on some others. Everything else is free. And
the Survivor Guide, is that a book, or what kind of product is that?
Right now it's a physical binder with inserts in it. And so it just helps you organize all the information that people are going to struggle with if you don't put it together for them. We like the binder because you can show someone where it is, tell them that's where it is. It's pretty old school, but they don't need a password or a gateway or any magic to go through it. We are working on online content though, because we realize that the younger generation is going to be less enthused about a physical product and perhaps going to want to have it online.
I don't know. I think there's a big trend towards physical in your hand again for things that are considered more like fun or meaningful. The day-to-day is online. I don't know. There's a trend there.
Yeah, I agree with you that kind of throwback trend. But we are going, by the end of the year, we'll have the electronic online version, which somebody can do just online, totally with the computer. And we're also developing a workbook type approach where you can get from Amazon just a book, and then you can fill out the pages and then put in your own binder. So you'll have 3 different cost points and 3 different approaches you can take that best fit whatever lifestyle. And
really nice. And I love that all your keys are free. Give us your website one more time.
LivingBetterInTheLaterYears.com.
Perfect. All right. So thank you so much for being on here. That's great information that you shared. As we wrap things up, reminder that the goal of this podcast is to instill wellness habits into your daily life to build a life beyond it's fine. Let's achieve spectacular, joyful, and deeply satisfying even in your later years. Our giveaway from our sponsor, RetreatWorks. There's a free live masterclass trained by yours truly. If you are a life coach, a business coach, or have a wellness business, learn the system to add a high-end retreat to your business and bring in an extra $50K in sales every single time you host a retreat, even if you don't have a following. So go to retreat.works and register for the free masterclass. It's called 5 Days to Build a Retreat. Thank you so much for joining us, Robert and Christine, again. Have a wonderful day, and thank you to our listeners in advance for giving us a positive review. Thanks, everyone.